everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome back. I'm Jeannie and we're going to do a neutral holiday themed nail set using some of the silkiest cat eyes that I have ever used. So we're going to be using the Espresso collection. This is from By Muse. This is my first time using this brand. This collection is from Sweetie Nail Supply, and for full transparency, this was sent to me as PR from Sweetie Nail Supply. But as always, you'll get my honest opinions, and let me tell you, as soon as I swatched this collection, I was blown away. I was oohing and eyeing as I was swatching this. So you have to see all these colors in action. So we're going to do some swatching together because you just have to see them for yourself. Of course, I'll try to leave chapters so that if you want to skip straight to the nail set, you don't want to see the swatching, you can kind of skip around. But of course, you're more than welcome to watch the whole thing. I would love that, but I know time is limited. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and take a closer look at this collection. So you can see it comes in this little box. And then what I really was surprised by is look at this magnet that this collection comes with. Usually collections that I've seen come with like little bar magnets or little cylindrical magnets, but I've never seen one come with such a nice magnet before. And I actually didn't use this for my swatching, so we'll test this out. So it's dual ended. You can see that one side is longer than the other, but I love how long it is, and it's got that wood handle to make it easier to hold on to. So I'm not sure if like either side is like different strengths or is it just different lengths, but I think that's really cool. And you can see here, it's not just all cylindrical, so it does have that flat end so that if you place it down, it's not going to roll away from you. So that, I mean, like every little detail, but this is so cool. I cannot believe they included such a great magnet. So we're going to use this for the swatching and we'll see how this works because I haven't tried it yet. But not only did they include this really nice magnet, hopefully, I don't know about the magnetic pole, hopefully it's a strong magnet, but they also included swatch gems. It's not often that I see collections include swatch gems, so that's really cool that I don't have to use my own swatch gems. It's really nicely packed, so they've got everything in between. And then we've got, of course, the swatch card. Here it is. So this is the swatch card. So you can see it's BM09 to BM16. So we've got 8 colors in this collection. So it's really cute. It's just like a little card, but I think it's really on theme. It's really cute. So of course, after we swatch out on these gems, we'll attach them to here. But here are the beautiful colors. Just look at these neutrals. I'm not going to do any spoilers of the colors. I'm just going to let you look at the jars. But I just love this selection of colors. They are absolutely beautiful. So let me go ahead, prepare my swatch gems on some nail stands, and then we'll get into some swatching. Okay, I've got my swatch gems ready. However, before we get into the swatching, can we just take a minute to admire these absolutely beautiful bottles? I'm not sure if all By Muse bottles are like this because this is my first time trying the brand, but like look at the beautiful silver accents. These are nice matte bottles with that ombre. And I believe the bottles are meant to match the gel colors. So you can see like they're all different colors, and then they have like this emblem on here, so it's like embossed. So I'm assuming like it's standing for the By Muse, so I can see like BM, and you can see like it's raised. It's kind of like an emblem, but it's sitting in the bottle. It's just like the details are so beautiful. I mean, not that, I mean, the bottles are a nice touch, but that's not going to dictate like how use of gels and colors and things like that are. But I do appreciate the attention to details. And I can say from the swatching that I did do, I mean, everything is high quality. So this first color is BM09. I will say these gels are a little bit thicker. They're not super thick, but they are thicker. They're not runny, which I appreciate. But just look at the silky gorgeousness of this color. So this one, actually, let me look at the swatch card because they do have names. So '09, this one is called, oop, I think that's blurry. This one is called Cinnamon. I guess I can sort of see that. It's going to be really hard. I'm bad at describing colors anyway, but this is like a light brown color, but just so silky and so gorgeous. So let me go ahead and swatch this. And as always, I'll do 2 layers. But just look at that. It's just so beautiful. And it just applies so smoothly, so even. These are really great brushes. I don't have any issues with them. They are like the straight edge brushes, but they're thin enough to where you don't have any issues. And let's see. So I'm just doing it to one side first so you can see those magnetic particles moving away. And then hopefully, yeah, I think you can see just how beautiful and reactive these are. Let's see if the other end is any different. I mean, they seem the same. Ooh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Look at just that silky, velvety gorgeousness. So I'm going to flash cure it because I'm happy with the way this looks. This is BM09 and this one is called Roast. So this is lighter so you can see the difference. I'd call this more of like a tan color. And you know, for whatever reason, I've been loving browns this season. And so, but this collection isn't just browns. It has beautiful browns in it, but it has other colors too, which I'm really excited about. But just look at how easily that applies. And it's so silky and so smooth, even without the cat eye. But so, like, I like to start with one side and just wave my wand back and forth, sort of to activate the magnetic pigments. And then once you've done that, you can kind of move it around to get that velvety look. So you can see I'm just pushing around the magnetic particles. They're very reactive, very beautiful. So I just cleared all the magnetic particles. So you can see it's just kind of clear all the way through. But I'm just trying to test out both sides to see if there's a difference in both sides. I mean, this one's fatter, the shorter one's fatter, and then the longer one's skinnier. But look at that. So, so beautiful. Flash cure that, and then we'll move on to the next color. The next color we have, look at this. So this is BM11, and this is called Matcha. I can see that because you can see like it's that dusty olivey green color. Just look at that. See, it's not all browns. They are just absolutely beautiful. I love the variety. Like these are perfect for a neutral lover who loves cat eyes. Just the silkiness of it and how evenly it applies. I don't get any patchiness like that quick. And then I've got my first layer done. I think I prefer this shorter, fatter side. So like I said, I like to go back and forth on, I'm trying to avoid the glare, on the one side first. And then I'll move my magnet around. I find that's kind of the best way to get like that velvety look. You just kind of have to play around with it. And the good thing about cat eye gels is you have plenty of time. Like you can keep working with it until you cure it. So this next one, this is BM12, which is chai. So this is like a darker brown. It kind of looks green in the camera, like an olive green, but it's not. It's like a darker brown. Let me show you. So look at that. I feel like it may have like maybe some green undertones to it, but it's definitely a brown. It's like a darker brown. It's got that metallicness to it because of the cat eye, but let me show you swatched and maybe it'll be easier to see. I think it'll be easier to see in the second layer as well. But look at that. I don't know why it's looking more green in camera as I'm looking through the viewfinder than I feel like in person. is just a beautiful, beautiful brown. What did I call this? Chai? I don't know about that. Like when I think of chai, I think of like a lighter brown color, but it's still beautiful regardless. And the next color we're going to use, this is BM13. This is a dusty purple and it is called hibiscus. Okay, I mean, I think of like a more neon color when hibiscus, but I'm not going to complain about the name because this color, you know, this color is right up my alley. It is so, so beautiful. Look at this. It's like a dusty plum. I just, oh, you know, it's my favorite. I'm not going to use it for this set because I think everyone expects me to use the purple, but just look at that. I would call it like a dusty plum color. It definitely has that like dustiness to it, but it is absolutely gorgeous. Just look at that color. So here, when I demagnetize it, you can see kind of that true color. And then when you start velvetizing to move those magnetic particles, you can see like that silver cat eye. And I'm going to velvetize it. And the nail stands that I'm using, they're actually non-magnetic because if you're working with magnetic nail stands, sometimes they can mess with the cat eye and it can make it harder to move around the magnetic particles because it interferes. So when possible, use non-magnetic stands when you're swatching cat eyes. And these ones I'm using are non-magnetic. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. So this next color, this is BM14. So based on the bottle, it's like a dusty rose color. Let's see, this one is called, what did I say? BM14. So this one's called a mocha, interestingly enough, because I would think mocha like a dark brown, but look at this. It's like this beautiful, beautiful dusty rose color. I'm a little unsure about the naming convention, but like I said, based on the colors and the way they look, I'm not mad about the names. As long as the gels perform well, that's all that matters. Look at that. Look at that. So beautiful. I cannot get over it. Easy application. I don't have to like keep going over it, anything like that. And then we will velvetize. I just think it's so fun to play with cat eyes. Our next color, this is BM15, and this one is called Caramel, which I do think that's an appropriate name. So it's kind of got like that browny, tanny, kind of like bronzish type coloring to it. So let me show you this swatch so you can see the color for yourself. I can definitely see caramel. This is a good name. Well, that was easy to velvetize. And then our last color, well, that is flash curing. Uh-oh, it's stuck. There we go. Our last color is BM16. And I'll look up, I'm not sure whether this is collection only or you can get them individually, but I'm telling you the names anyway, just in case, because I'm not sure. So this last one, it is called Macchiato. So this one is another dark brown. Let me show you this one swatched. Look at that one swipe. There we go. And sorry if you can hear the vacuum. I feel like it's always in the background when I'm recording and doing voiceovers. Look how beautiful that is. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and fully cure all my swatches, and then I will just switch to music and we can do the second layer. Okay, so here are all the colors all swatched out, applied to the swatch card. And look at how beautiful these are. I love doing this because as you're swatching, you think all the colors look the same, but seeing them side by side, you can see what a difference these are. So they are really different colors. I love the variety. They're very neutral, but they're not just brown. So you have that dusty plum, that dusty rose, just absolutely beautiful. But now I'm excited because now we're going to get into the nail set. I've got my tips all prepped and ready, so I went ahead and sized them out, shaped them. These are the soft gel medium almond tips. They have been my favorite to use. So I also did apply a layer of gel base coat first. Not only does it help the gel polish adhere better to the tips, it also helps it apply more smoother and even. So I always start with a layer of gel base, fully cured that for 60 seconds. We're going to use some of the colors from the espresso collection, as well as a couple of other things. So I've got the Nail Bio Doi Nudie Beige as my base color for some of them. There's going to be a little bit of glitter. So I've got the Doi Twinkle Gel. I'm also going to use, because there's going to be a little bit of 3D, I'm going to try to use the Ivy Fix Gel in the tube because you'll see what I'm going to plan to do with that. And then we're also going to attempt some like sculpting. So I'm using the Chris clay. This is the Korean clear. I'm really excited to try this again. I've been absolutely obsessed with Chrisanya Neri's products. I actually did place a Black Friday order, so I'll share that once I get it. But we're going to be using some of this because I want to do like not only a neutral holiday theme, but I want to do like a gingerbread themed set. So I'm going to try to sculpt a little gingerbread man using this Chris clay. We'll see how it goes because I'm very new to sculpting, so I'm not the best at it. But I'm hoping it's simple enough to where I can pull it off. We'll see. I may scrap it. We may do something different. But I just wanted to share the other products that I'm using. And actually, let's start with the Nudie Beige because I want to do like all my base colors first before I do the nail art. That's how I like to do it. So the beige is going to go on my index finger and pinky. So we're going to go ahead and start with that. And actually, I'm going to cure everything at once. So I'm going to do the first layer of all my base colors, cure it, and then we'll do a second layer. Generally, I always do 2 layers of the color. You want to make sure that your gel polish is thin. You want to make sure that it's thin enough to where it's not running on the underside of your press-ons because that could impact the fit of it, as well as you want to make sure that it's going to be able to cure all the way through because you don't want uncured gel. So you can see this Nudie Beige is a really light sheer color. All of kind of the Doi Nudie colors are that sheer color, but they're very buildable. So we'll see. I may do 3 layers depending, but I at least wanted to start with definitely 2 because I don't want it to be super sheer. It doesn't have to be fully opaque, but I don't want it super sheer either, somewhere in between. But you can see the Doi Nudie gels are some of my favorite kind of nude, not nude, sheer colors to use because they're so easy to use. They apply really evenly, they self-level. So we've got the 2 layers. I'm going to keep that to the side. The 2 layer, no, not the 2 layers. The 1 layer of Nudie Beige on these 2 fingers. And then for the middle finger, which is going to be the base for the gingerbread man, I'm going to use number 9. So I believe that's, nope, that's the wrong one. So this is, yep, this is number 9. So you can see here, it's kind of like that beigey, what's it called again? Cinnamon. I don't know if cinnamon's the right, but I think it's a really beautiful color that's going to be the base. I'm going to try to honestly cat eye the gingerbread man too, if I can at least shape. I need to shape him first, then I can worry about color. But if I can shape him, the plan is to use one of the cat eye gels to paint him in because I am using a clear clay because I don't have any, well, I have 2 colored clays, but they're purple and orange, which aren't going to work for this set. But I did just order a red and a green because I want to do some holiday sets with it. So, I'm not going to cat eye the first layer. I'll just do the second layer or third or however, the last layer, we'll say that because I don't know how many layers I'm going to do yet. So 9, and then keep that to the side. We're going to use 15. I believe that's this one. Yep. 15 is going to go on the ring finger. This is honestly, I would call this cinnamon more than I would number 9. But what do I know? It's still a really beautiful. I just love like the bronzy color to this. I just think it's beautiful. And then lastly for the thumb, we're going to use 16. Is that 16? Yes, that's 16. I mean, I think even without the gel base, you saw with the swatches how evenly these applied, but it just like glides on top of gel base. Oops. See, I always check all angles to make sure I'm getting like to the sidewalls, making sure I'm getting all edges, but also want to make sure that I'm not spilling over to the underside. So that's layer 1. I'm going to cure that for a full 60 seconds, and then we'll do layer 2. Okay, first layer cured. We're going to go in with layer 2. I'm not, let me see how layer 2 looks, and then I'll decide whether I want to do a third layer. So starting with nudie beige. I mean, these gels are thin, so I don't feel like I'd get bulkiness with a third layer if I needed to go in with a third layer. But let me see what 2 looks like to decide. I do think painting on the second layer of nudie beige, I do think I want a third layer. I guess I need to invest in a little bit more opaque, like ivory beigeish type color. Because I don't know, it doesn't have to be fully opaque, but I do want a little bit more color payoff, I think. So I think I'll definitely do a third layer of nudie beige, but let me see with the cat eyes whether I want to do, whoops, let me just knock everything over while I'm at it too. This one I did on the middle finger. See, this is why I do one color at a time typically, because I'm like, what color did I do where? Yeah, this is the middle finger. I need someone to keep me honest. I have been lately, when I have time, I've been using Canva whiteboard to kind of map out my designs. And that's been really helpful to have. It's just sometimes I'm like, let me just wing it, throw a mani together and see how it works. But I've been liking kind of mapping out on whiteboard because then I can kind of color in, show what designs I want to do. I mean, sometimes I deviate, but at least it's a good starting point. I think I can still sort of see that tip stand, so I will do a third layer. So I'm not going to magnetize the second layer because I am going to do a third layer. And then 15, that's on the ring finger. And that's where I'm looking, honestly, to see, make sure I'm using the right colors. I'm looking at my design because I wrote down what colors I wanted to do on what fingers. So that's helping me keep straight on what color I used where, because otherwise I'd probably paint the wrong color on the wrong finger. This one's definitely more opaque than 9, but since I'm doing 3 layers on everything else, I'm going to go ahead and do 3 layers on everything just to keep them even. I like to do the same amount of layers on all the fingers. I mean, even without magnetization, these cat eye gels are beautiful. Just the colors alone, and they've kind of got like that metallic pearliness to them, which makes them absolutely beautiful. And I don't know, I just love metallics for the holidays. So that is layer 2. Let me cure that, And then we'll do our third and final layer for our base, and then we can get into the nail art. Okay, that's cured. Third layer. Normally I skip out the third layer, but I feel like the magnetization part is the best part, so I have to show you why. I don't know. I don't know if you can see that piece of fuzz on my glove. But anyway, as I was saying, the magnetization is the best part. So that's why I'm showing you the third layer, because I don't want to cut that out. Yeah, this is exactly the opacity that I wanted. I'm glad I decided to do the third layer of the nudie beige, because it's still got that sheerness to it, but that's kind of the color I was going for. I need to remove that piece of fuzz so it doesn't get on my nail. I don't know if you noticed the fuzz on my swatch gems because I'm wearing a fuzzy sweater and I got fuzz everywhere. Okay. So that's the nudie beige. Such a good base color, especially like if you have paler skin, that'd be a really good base color. Layer 3. I feel like the layers on the cat eyes, they make a difference in opacity, but I feel like the color remains the same. Like they don't deepen. Like some colors you apply more layers and they deepen. I feel like these stay the same color. They just have like a little bit more opacity, if that makes sense. But anyway, let's go ahead and magnetize this one. Look at that. So beautiful. Do I want to just leave it like that and not velvetize it? I kind of like the way that looks. Let me leave it like that and flash cure it. So that's enough. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Because I'm going to cover it up, I'm going to do that. I guess it's going to be small. I don't know if I can sculpt something that small, but I want to do the gingerbread on this nail. So at least that way you can still maybe see the cat eye if I can make the gingerbread small enough. This one is the ring finger. I don't know. Am I the only one who like thinks metallics are perfect for the holidays, the winter time? I don't know what it is about them. So there's that one. Magnetize that. This one's just going to have the glitter ombre yet on it, so I'm going to use, ooh. See, it just stops me in my tracks. Just look at how silky and smooth this is. I think I might velvetize this one. Unless I'm crazy, I feel like the longer, skinnier end is better for like the lines, and then the shorter, fatter end is good for like the velvet. Yes, look at that. They are just so smooth and velvety. I swear, these are probably the most velvety cat eyes that I have ever used, and I am obsessed. They are absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy with this collection. And then lastly, we're going to do the thumb. See, I almost did the wrong finger. And the thumb, I think I'm going to do a little bit of nail art on it. Like I'm thinking a bow. Um, I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to try to sculpt it or if I'm just going to paint it on. We'll see. I don't know if I'm brave. I mean, I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I may try to sculpt it depending on how the gingerbread goes. Let's say that. Just look at that. I mean, oh, this would make such a beautiful coffee set. Do I want to velvetize it? Or do I want to make it, when I hold my hand, it's going to be this side that's visible in pictures. Do I want to do that? Yeah, let's keep it like that. Okay, I'm going to cure everything and then we're going to get into the nail art. Okay, so since we're going to start with the hard, here's what I'm going to do. Because I want the charm to sit on the nail, I want to have the natural curve of the nail, because if I make it flat, it's not going to sit flush on the nail. So what I did is I took the same tip that I'm using for my middle finger, which is where the charm's going to go. And so I just put it on a nail stand, and then I wrapped it in some plastic wrap, because I've seen others, and I believe if they do it straight on the tip, it's going to stick to it. So I think it's better to have it on the plastic wrap. And I thought about using, honestly, a tip size that I never use because it's like too large for me. So like the size 0 tips, I never use them. They just kind of go to waste. I use them for swatching, things like that. But I was afraid that if I did the charm on the size 0 tip, which is larger, that I would make the charm too big for my middle finger. So I decided to just suck it up and use the actual size tip that I need. And that way I can kind of judge the size of the charm that I want to use, if that makes sense. So we've got the Chris Clay. This is the clear 3D sculpting gel. This is the Korean gel. I also bought the Milky White in my Black Friday order, so I'm excited to try that as well, because I think even if I color in things, I think the Milky White will be easier to color in than the clear. So cross your fingers for me. This may be a hot mess, but I really want to get better at sculpting. And you know what? You're never going to get better unless you practice, right? So I shouldn't need a lot of gel. I did buy her silicone tools too, because I feel like I don't know, I feel like mine are too flimsy to use. Like you can see, I can't, let me get a cuticle tool instead, because I feel like it makes it harder when they're flimsy. I feel like that's probably too much clay. And I'm wearing gloves, but I still try not to touch the gel. We'll see how that goes. So I'm just using my little disposable palette. Let me see if I can at least roll this into a ball. It's easier. It's like whatever you're doing, to start with the shape of a ball. I think this is definitely too much for at least the head of the gingerbread man. This may be like for all the gingerbread man, but let's see. For the head, maybe like this much. I love these clays. Not that I've worked with a lot, but these clays are really great because they don't stick. So it makes it really easier to work with. Like even I know some people try to sculpt with like non-sticker sticky builder gel, but I don't know why they call it non-sticky builder gel, because it's sticky. I mean, it's thick, but it's still sticky. So that's why I prefer working with like actual molding gels, molding clays, because they're truly non-stick. So let me see. This actually might still be too big. If I can pick it up. There we go. Yeah, I think that's too big. It's so hard to judge because it looks really small, but once you put it in like the context of a nail, that puts like a whole new perspective on size, because the nails are so small. So let's see. I just cut it down a little bit. Oops, sorry, I'm shaking you. We'll roll that into a ball, because his head is, a ball shape, and then I can flatten it to the nail. But I need to make sure it's not too large, because once I put in the body, I don't want to cover up the whole nail. I just want to make like a small, cute gingerbread charm. I swear it looks like I didn't even cut it down. That's still huge. Maybe like half that? If you're like a pro at sculpting or really good at sculpting, do it a lot. If you have any tips or tricks, please share them with me, because I'm learning. I really want to get better at this, because I just love watching sculpting. It's just so, so cool. and it definitely stretches beyond my abilities. Is that good? I didn't want to touch it, but oh, okay. See, let me wrap this so it's tight and doesn't move on me. That's still too well. You know what? I'll just change gloves. I try not to use my hands, but I think especially when you're newer and you're not used to working with like tools, it's harder to not. And it's like, I'm glad the clay isn't sticking to the plastic wrap, but at the same time, it needs to stick at least a little bit so I can mold and shape without it flying off every time. I just flattened this a little bit too much, so I want to round it out a bit more. I'm trying to decide, is this still too large? Maybe I'll try to form a body and then see, like in the context of the whole nail, because I don't want like this big head and this stick figure body, or vice versa. But I think that might be a good size. It's obviously harder to see without any color. I maybe one day if I get better at this, but I really wish I had like, I want the whole collection of the Chris Clay colors, but I couldn't justify it knowing that I'm not that great at this just yet. But I think that's a good size. So I think we've got the head. Let's, how am I going to do the body? um, I think for the body, I'm going to start with like kind of like a snake roll. I really need better tools as well. So let's start with that amount of clay. So I'm just going to roll it out into a long rope. Actually, probably not that long because it's not a long nail. That actually might be too long. Let's see. Actually, no, I think that works. And then I did see that Chrysania has a blending gel, which I should have bought, but at the time I didn't know what it was. But apparently, it's like a clear gel that helps you blend when you put together two gels instead of seeing like a line. Because apparently, if you use isopropyl alcohol, it can kind of create like a white cast. So I kind of wish I picked that up. But right now, it's looking like a stick person, which I was afraid of. So um, let me do arms and maybe that, oops, maybe that will help. So this is where it's going to have to get really small to do like arms and legs, but I'm still once again going to start with like that rope shape. And that way, hopefully, the arms can be even because I can do like the rope shape and then cut it in half. And then each arm, and then I'll have each arm. And then I can, if that works, I can do the same for the legs. But I do want to make sure they're fatter. Like, I don't want to make it too thin. So I don't want to roll it too much, but I do want to make it, you know, is that too? That might be too. Okay. That's too stubby, I think, for arms, but let me see. Oh my gosh. Is this, I'm hoping it's actually going to come together once I color it in. Because right now, uh, right now I'm not so sure. And then honestly, since I feel like he's already too long, I feel like I can just split that bottom and like shape them out to two little legs rather than using more clay. So you can see I barely used any clay. Is that sort of looking like a gingerbread man? Maybe? Okay, I've got him cured and I'm going to use number 15, I believe is this one, to color him in. And I'm not sure, I guess it doesn't matter if I go messy, but just in case, I'm just going to use a smaller brush. So this is the Sweetie Nail Supply check brush. This is number 4. So you can see it's really great for like making plaid and checked lines, but I think it's just skinny. So I'm going to use it to hopefully color in my gingerbread man. I don't want to use a liner because there is more space to fill in, but I do want something smaller so I can get around those edges. I will do multiple layers to build up that opacity. So I'm not going to velvetize him just yet. I'm hoping it'll look cute velvetized. I'm hoping this actually looks like a gingerbread man, to be honest. Because if it doesn't, I may start over. But I think you can hopefully at least see what I'm trying to do. Now, whether or not it pays off, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm just filling him in, just giving him a little bit color. And I feel like that's where it finally starts to like come to life and take shape. This is where I wish though I had her colored clays. Like I could have either used a brown clay if she has a brown clay or mixed some colors to make my own brown clay. I mean, he's a little lopsided, but I think the basic shape is there. So I don't feel like I need to redo him. So I'm going to go ahead and cure that. Okay, first layer is cured. I think he's starting to look a little bit cute. I mean, obviously he needs like some details and a face, but I think he's starting to look cute. I'm hoping 2 layers is enough, but it definitely is easier to fill him in using this check brush rather than using the big brush in the bottle or a liner brush. Because liner brush would take forever. His legs are a little funny, but do I want a third layer? Let's magnetize. Sorry, I keep hitting you. Oh my gosh, look, it's kind of like he's filled with a white icing. That's cute. I'm going to cure that. Okay, he's cured. So for the finer details, I'm going to use this Miss Milo Greedy Cake Gel. I've been really loving it for like really fine nail art because it's thick and it stays where you put it. So let me figure out. Obviously, it's not going to work for all parts of him, but because I don't have steady hands, it kind of, at least for the head, works better if I just hold my brush and move the nail rather than me trying to move my brush, if that makes sense. See, that definitely works much better. Oops, too much. And then, okay, and then I'm going to do, like, he's got a little bit of ribboning. I don't know, this is so tiny. Can I do that? You know, like little cuffs at the arms and feet. Man, this gives me, I mean, I always had an appreciation for people who could do like portrait nail art, but whew. And then little eyes. See if I can make them even. Good enough. Let me flash here. I feel like his neck is a little uh weird looking, so let's give him a little bow. So kind of like two triangles meeting. I'm going to let him rock like that. Okay, so I've got him cured. Let's see. I guess, you know, it isn't really wasting a tip because I did do plastic wrap on top, so I can still use that tip. So he should peel right off, which he does. Yay. On the nail, just like that. I know he's a little weird looking, but he's cute. He's my gingerbread man. So I'm gonna use the Ivy Fix gel because I have it out because we're gonna use it anyway. Oh, this one made a giant mess. What the heck? I have heard about this tube being messy. I'm gonna have to clean that out. Okay. Store it this way for now. I'm gonna have to clean that out though before I use it. And then see how he's curved because I put him on that nail, so that makes him flush when I adhere him to my nail. So I just want to make sure that he's even and straight. It's fine. Okay, so I need to switch it up and do something easy after that. So this is the Doy Twinkle Gel. I got this as a free gift from Sweetie's maybe summer sale. It's such a beautiful silver glitter. Just look at that. So I'm going to do a little bit of a glitter ombre. At the cuticle area. So I'm just applying some of that gel and then I'm going to move that around. Kind of like a little bit of an icicle look. So you can see how I'm kind of dragging it in like different lengths. I want the most amount of that gel at the cuticle area. But they're kind of like, I want them to look kind of icicle looking, which is why I'm using the liner brush and not an ombre brush. But just look at the way that glistens against the cat eye. It's so, so beautiful. I do want a little bit more glitter up here. I want it a little bit denser at the cuticle area. I need to be careful though. I don't want to make it too thick where it's not going to cure. Look at that. Oh, okay. I wanted a longer liner brush because I'm going to draw lines vertically down the nail, and the longer the brush, the better. Let me make sure you can see that. That should be good. I'm going to use, now that this is cured, I'm going to use some of these gels. And of course, I want to use more of the colors. And I'm going to make like little ornaments down that. I don't need a lot of gel, but I do want some different colors. And of course, this is a good excuse to use the purple and the pink in this set. I've got the dark brown already on the palette. What other color should I use? Maybe like this color. I just want it to, you know, kind of stand out to where you can see them. And then maybe the green as well. And I think that should be good. It doesn't have to be like ultra colorful, but what I'm going to do, let me move this. So I've got my colors, and then let's make some bigger ones. So just going to dip that into the dotting tool. And I'm going to try to do more than one at once, but I do want to magnetize them. So I'm just going to do one color at a time, kind of placing that on the line. And then where's my magnet? So like that, flash cure, and then go in with a smaller dotting tool to do some more colors, like some smaller dots. See how they kind of look like ornaments? And then let's actually bring in some darker color. So bring in some of that brown from the set just to tie everything together. I'm almost thinking I don't want to do too much and make it too busy. So I think we're going to leave it like that. So here's how the ornaments are looking. I think they look super cute. But when I talked about 3D, what I want to do is I want to use the Ivy Fix gel and just make them a little bit more raised. So I did clean out the cap as much as I could. So it's much better. I think I might have stored it on its side and it just spilled over like that. I hate that it happened, but I still really love the really skinny small applicator because you can get really precise application. So I just have to remember to store it upright and not let it sit. So I'm just going to take little dollops, and then where I drew the dots, I'm hoping this is thick enough to where I can make like the raised dots and it's going to stay. We'll see. I'm going to try not to flash cure in between just so I could get it done faster, but I may see that it starts running and I may have to flash cure. And this is when I regret the smaller dots. I just want to make sure that I'm kind of breaking that little string. But hopefully you can see what I'm doing and why it makes it so much easier to use like this small applicator. Okay, so I cured my 3D ornaments, and I'm not gonna lie, the gingerbread man was bothering me because the lines weren't crisp. So I buffed him off and I redid his outline, and I like it much better. Still not perfect, but better. I will say that's something I should have done in the first place anyway. Before I painted him, I should have buffed him smooth and then painted him. So maybe that made the difference in making him easier. So I would say if you're making your own charms, make sure that it's smooth, buff it first, dust it off, and then paint over, and that'll make a difference. And the last thing I'm going to do with the white is I just want to draw a bow on the thumb. So I'm going to use my liner brush and then the white, and then I'm going to draw like a cross. So down the middle, I'm going to draw a line vertically down the middle. I didn't have enough gel on my brush. Good enough, straight enough. And then I'm going to do it vertically as horizontally as well. So I'm happy with that. So I'm going to flash cure it. And that way, if I mess up the bow, I can just wipe off the bow and not try to redo those lines again, because I feel like I got lucky with that being good the first try, because usually They're more crooked than that. They're not perfect by any means, not centered, but I'm happy with that. So now that they're flash cured, I'm going to do it this way because I wear it this way and I usually pose my thumb this way. So I want the bow to be right side up. So that's the way I'm going to do the bow. If you do your thumb the other way, you can do it the other way. Obviously, there's no right or wrong. So it's just going to be a simple, like, loop. I just want to make sure that's not as crisp as I'd like it. So that's what I mean about flash curing the lines. So I can just wipe that part off and then redo. I didn't like it, wasn't crisp enough for me. So once again, from here, I'm going to draw that little loop. I'm going to try to do it in sections this time. And once again, moving the nail instead of my hand. So something like that. And then they don't have to be perfect, matchy, but you know, similar. I mean, what bows, at least for me, my bows are never perfectly symmetrical when I'm actually tying a bow. So that's kind of how I'm looking at this one. And then a little ribbon. And then cute, done. We're going to finish everything off with top coat. The Doi Basics top coat is still my absolute favorite. I've tried many different top coats. I still haven't found one that I love better than this one. It is a thinner top coat, so it's going to leave the texture, which I prefer because I made it 3D for a reason. So I'm not really as concerned about that. So I'm just going to make sure that I apply a thin, even layer of top coat to all the nails. And then once I'm done, I'll cure that for 60 seconds. I went ahead and applied my press-ons off camera, and you know no mani is complete without rehydrating my cuticles. So I'm using my Scales of Mermaid cuticle oil. This is in one of the newest scents, Cherry Cherry. I absolutely love this scent. I'm obsessed with it. So if you like cherry scents, this is a really great one, but it's just not notes of cherry. It's got like a good complexity to it. So I'm just going to make sure that I am applying it generously to my cuticles because they are extra dry. They always are when I apply press-ons or do my nails, because I always make sure that I'm dehydrating them first to make sure that everything's going to adhere properly. And I just use sticky tabs, so these aren't going to be long-term wear. And if you want to see my process for how I apply press-ons, I'll try to remember to leave the video linked above in the cards, because I do have at least one video that's kind of, I think it may be titled How I Apply My Press-Ons or something like that, because I have gotten questions on that before. So here is the finished look, and I'm definitely glad I redid this gingerbread man, because while he's still not perfect, I definitely think he's cuter than what I had before. And just look at how dreamy and velvety and smooth and silky these cat eye gels are. I am absolutely obsessed with it. And oh man, I just got a whiff of cherry cherry and I just love the way that smells. So I hope this video is helpful and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up. It lets me know to continue creating content like this. And it also helps YouTube recommend me to others, which helps grow my channel. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I upload content every Monday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.